Hello, this is Tom Cloud with this week's Precious Metals Market Update. Last week I was very hopeful that we could quit talking about Greece and get on to other items, but certainly in a week we've seen a mountain of turmoil in the Greece markets. They did make their 712 million euro payment, but James Turk, who's probably the most respected guy in the precious metals market in the world, has come out and said, what are they going to do now that they couldn't work out and settle the agreement? They now owe $112 billion of credit exposure to the European central banks. And when we come to Greece owes $2.9 billion at the end of June and $9.69 billion, of which $7.8 billion is to the European central banks in July and August. So if you can't pay barely pay 712 million euros on the interest that they paid last week, what are they going to do with the other 112 billion they owe? And then they turn around and have over $11 billion of payments, or almost 10% of their total debt due before the end of August. So we know that we're right back in there. Well, the Financial Times, the most famous newspaper in the world out of London, is reporting this morning that, get ready, that there's going to be bail-in Greece. And Greece is an industrial country, one of the top in the world, and the European central banks are not going to just lose this money. So they're going to force collateral and bail in and take money from the citizens of Greece, because it's not right for the other citizens of other countries to pay for Greece's problem. So you're already seeing the tightness of the banking system there, limited withdrawals to live on, and basically what they're setting up is to take all their money. And if you don't think this will resonate in other countries, including the U.S., this problem comes our way. So we will be talking about Greece for the next several months, whether we want to or not, because it is that big a deal. And how in the world are they going to work out this payment? We also had this week where the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation says they have no answer for the next crisis in the U.S. with less than 2% of assets to cover all the deposits in banks in the U.S. and the government saying they will not do any more bailouts for banks. Guess what? You will have a bail-in in this country. Every penny you have in the bank will get a haircut. So we're now seeing these markets move, and in particular silver. As I record this on Tuesday morning, May 19th, we are seeing silver up 11.5% for the year, while gold's up about 2.6%, and the stock market's up about 2.6%, and silver continues to fly up as we talk about every week. It's still $1.50 below mining cost, even after the dollar run of last week. Now, the question becomes, the dollar is up today for the first time in over a week, and it's up strong with all this Greek information in the market. Well, you as an investor have to decide, probably no later than early June, in a few weeks, are you going to bet on deflation or inflation? If Greece does default, certainly it's going to be very deflationary, and it will send silver down because it is an industrial metal. But the way the big money's betting on it, it's almost cast in stone that there'll be a bailout. And how in the world you can bail out a country that owns $112 billion and could barely scrape up 700 million euros, and now they've got all this other $11 billion due by the end of July. So what do you think is going to happen? Are they going to bail them out? And in that case, you'll see silver skyrocket. You'll see the dollar start down, and you'll see gold also going up, but probably not as fast as gold. Or do you bet on saving your cash deposits in U.S. banks and buy gold, which if there is a default, then gold is going to be the place to be, just like it was in 2008. It will preserve your money and purchasing power better than anything on the planet Earth. Even treasuries, and we already see the bond market starting to crack worldwide, and people like Bill Gross at PIMCO, the largest bond manager in the world, saying he's cutting exposure and talking about buying gold. And how about the Bank of America yesterday on May 18th putting out a piece to their investors in their management system saying they're increasing gold positions and selling stock and lowering their stock exposure until the winds blow over later in the year. So people, we're getting into serious things. Tough decisions have to be made. You're responsible for your own money. God has given you the ability to do research and talk to many different counselors. And that's what I'd advise. I don't have all the answers, and certainly no one else does either. But we do know that asset allocation is important. And asset allocation is not stocks, bonds, and cash. That's like a joke. You've got to take 7 or 8. How about real estate, gold, precious metals, stocks, bonds, foreign currencies, oil, coal, going into different different angles and different baskets is the way you're going to preserve your wealth. And if you haven't looked at my webinar I did with Jerry on the 6th of May that's on his website, I get into all this and give you my opinions and where I have my own money. I think it's very important if you haven't looked at it that you do. And then we move in the fall when the Shemitah comes, the 7-year biblical Shemitah cycle that comes every 7 years. And as most of you know, every 7 years, starting in 1973, stock market's gone down over 30% since we went off the go-back standard, God's money, in 1971 under President Nixon. So we're going to have a lot of interest. We're going to have a lot of talk. But you better have a plan right now to move money to safety and get it out of the banking system, because if there is a default in Greece, you're going to see bank bail-ins start worldwide as people start defaulting on debt, because we know that Italy and Portugal stand ready and watching every move that's going on between the European central banks and Greece, and they will follow dramatically. If any of you need to talk to us, please give us a call at 800-247-2812. That's 800-247-2812. If you know my distribution list is completely confidential. We don't share your email with anyone. You need to sign up through the FTM Daily website, and you'll receive our bi-weekly alerts, sometimes once a week, sometimes 3 times a week, depending on what kind of information I need to get to you. But if you don't like it, you can unsubscribe right on the website, so it's no problem. And for those that are looking, and you should be looking, if you don't have precious metals in your IRA, you need to set up a self-directed precious metals IRA. And Dan, Kathleen, or I can walk you through how to do that. So hopefully we've answered some questions, but once again, I hate to apologize, but we're going to be talking about Greece because this problem is nowhere near solved. With this week's Precious Metals Market Update, this is Tom Cloud signing out.